What's up, good people, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So today I am back with another video, and this video is more of a follow-up or part 2 to the video that I just released on Miss Robbie filing a defamation suit on YouTuber Eat with Phylly Phyl. And so I uploaded the video, and the response has been it's been very interesting. And as I started to read some of the comments in the comments section, it started to become clear to me fairly quickly that I might need to do a follow-up video on the comments alone, and also include a bit of a clip of what we are referring to, because yeah, there are a lot of theories in the comments section, etc. And so let's get into it. So one of the comments that kind of sparked me saying, okay, we might need to dig a little deeper on this part of it, is this comment here where this viewer says, Phylly Phyl did not accuse Miss Robbie of anything in said video. The woman on the phone did. Please go back and listen to their conversation so you can get the facts right. So first of all, I was like, I got these facts right. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I got these facts right as in what I stated. And I saw a couple other comments where people misunderstood what I was saying, which happens almost in every single video. It's like comprehension skills, people. But people were under the assumption that I was saying in the initial video that Phylly Phyl had said some things that made her also be dragging Miss Robbie or defaming her name. And that is not what I said at all. I actually said she was trying to mitigate that. And I, upon the ending of that clip, thought, okay, she might be fine there. You know, I don't really see a big thing here with them saying it was malicious. However, the second video is what I was referring to, where I was saying they have some leverage with what was worded if a person didn't have the full context. So anyway, let's just look at a bit of these clips, and these are literally going to be clips. If you want to see the entire video, I will link Phylly Phyl's full video in my description area below. This is not the place to watch her video, so I want to see, well, I can say I don't want to see those comments and somebody's still gonna comment, you was interrupting, I wanted to see the video. Go to Phylly Phyl's channel, click the link below to watch the video. Okay, so let's get into the actual video that has become in question with this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Sweetie Pie.
Okay.
And Kim Norman stuff, okay? Yes, I'm in St. Louis, and I know the Normans, and I've been knowing Miss Robbie when she's the background with Ike and Tina Turner.
Really?
And Miss Robbie is the head of all this stuff that's going on, okay?
You think so? Allegedly.
Hey, that boy Andre, who was the sacrificial lamb for the whole thing, okay? Miss Robbie ain't what y'all think she is.
Okay.
Miss Robbie is in this stuff as deep as her son. I knew her son's father. My husband and him used to be best friends. All of them are killers. Did you understand what I'm saying?
Well, she know who you are.
I don't care whether she know who I am or not. I know who she is, and I know that she's not what she pretends to be.
So as we see in the first part of this clip, the caller who ended up gaining the name Auntie Shirley, I think it was, called in, and she came in hot. She came in hot, like, I know these people, I know the Norman family, I know Miss Robbie personally, I know she's up to no good, and then went into the accusations that Miss Robbie has something to do with the taking of the life of her own grandson. That's a little cringy, because it's like, if you don't have proof, those are things you should not be saying on a platform at all in public. But we saw that Phylly Phyl did say allegedly, you know, interrupted with the word allegedly. Didn't cut it off, but just said allegedly, and then the woman continued to go on and say other things. So let's see what else was said that might be considered in this defamation suit.
So ain't none of this stuff got no clean hands. Do you understand?
Wow.
And Miss Robbie is in it all the way up to her red neck.
I must say
Well, the
now,
caller the other day said she was
Miss Robbie
being
is the
sent.
one that sent for Andre. Do you understand?
well, I will say that this is alleged. I mean, I can look up the James Dyson Oshra. I mean, that's public information that you can
You
look
can
up.
look it up, baby. It made the papers. And if you want to know who Tara Taylor Norman is, that is the woman that Tim Norman was married to, that Miss Robbie had to sue in order for them to pay for Tim Norman being born in the hospital. I've been knowing these people since they used to be on the Dave Dixon show and used to sing with Ike Turner down at the Diner Flow Inn, okay?
Okay, wait a minute. The other lady told me that Carol Taylor was his sister.
That was Tim Norman's wife. We used to call her Carol Ann. Her name was Carol Ann Norman, okay?
Are you sure?
So, Junior, Timothy Norman Sr. was married to Carol Ann Taylor.
Okay, so that lady's name on those papers was his wife, not his sister.
That's right. That's his wife, Carol Ann Taylor Norman.
And Miss Robbie did.
Everybody in St. Louis, listen, everybody in St. Louis knows that. This is no secret. I don't know where Miss Robbie trying to come from, but everybody knew what was going on with her and Ike Turner and all the rest of it. Girl, all this stuff is a big old sham. Don't you understand? That's why she prostitute. Who?
Miss Robbie.
I don't know anything about that.
No, we don't know nothing about.
St. Louis.
We don't know nothing about that. I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
She hightailed it out of St. Louis because she know everybody here knows her dirty work. Okay, do you understand? That's why she went to California and had Andre's father, because everybody knew how she was carrying on around here. But when she was with Ike Turner didn't hire anybody that he didn't sleep with.
Oh.
Okay? Now this is when he was with the Kings of Rhythm and all that kind of stuff. Ain't nobody in St. Louis sleep on Miss Robbie. Maybe people out of town are, but nobody else is, okay? That's why I had to, when I heard y'all talking about it, I said, let me get on this. I've never done this before. These people are out of sight. That woman is in that stuff up to her neck with that boy. That's why she's sticking with him. What grandmother you know that know her large hip son killed her grandson and somehow she going with him all the way? I'm not saying she's not supposed to love him, but hey, she and all that stuff right with him, baby. She got a sister named Linda that I know that I used to pick up for another guy. She was his girlfriend. He was an older guy. She's got one of the restrooms. Ain't no clean hands coming through that family, the Montgomerys, at all. Did you hear what I said? They had a brother by the name of Fisherman. He come up dead. He cut a girl's head off and wore it around on his belt buckle for years.
Wait a minute. You're taking me too fast. Hold up.
Oh, you're not listening fast.
This is now look, I can't prove any of this. This is the callers. This is hearsay, gossip information that the caller is saying.
This is what, when you say God, this is the truth. And that's what he is. I'm telling you what happened. I lived right here. I know I've been in the people's company. I've been in their apartment. I knew her brother Harold. I knew her brother Butch. Hey, I knew her brother Fisherman. I know her sister Linda. Now the rest of them, I'm not familiar with them, okay?
What about
these? I knew when they used to live in the project, okay?
What did you say about the man that wore a head around his neck?
She had a brother we used to call him Fisherman. Fishman, Fishmann. He cut a white girl's head off and wore it on his belt buckle around the town.
Did he not get arrested?
Nah, don't tell me insanity doesn't run in the family.
Okay, but did he not get arrested?
Yeah, he not only got arrested, he got murdered.
Okay.
White people don't let you kill their people and you just go free. Okay?
Well, okay, caller. This is interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I could write a book about it. I can tell you a whole lot of things about it because I was in the midst. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
I hope you be safe.
So,
Well, I tell you this, I bet you I won't get sued and it won't be no comeback because I'm not lying.
So I think that's a good place to end that. So there was other things said, but that's like the bulk of it. And as you can see, there was accusations from Miss Shirley or Aunt Shirley about Miss Robbie's sexual history, being promiscuous. She said that, Miss Robbie's been with Ike Turner, that Tim's father supposedly, took the life of someone. She was saying that it was in newspapers and stuff. So if that's the case, it's definitely provable. But overall, as I stated in my previous video, from this particular video, you can see that Phylly Phyl is trying to mitigate it. She's saying allegedly, she's questioning the lady. She's trying to redirect on some of the accusations that are being said when, I don't know who the other guest was, but was saying, wasn't Miss Robbie a prostitute? And, Phylly Phyl kind of shut that down. And the other lady says she don't know nothing about that. Miss Shirley says she don't know nothing about that. So I'm not sure. And maybe the Cody person is not Miss Shirley. Maybe that's the co-person that was on here, the guest host or guest that was on the live that night. Now, again, I didn't watch the original live, so I don't know all the behind the scenes of this. But maybe that's also who's being implicated versus the caller, which I originally thought in the previous video. Because now that would be the person that was also on the video with Phylly Phyl kind of throughout this video. So anyway, so as I stated in this one, it felt like, there's probably ways to kind of get around this because she didn't say those actual words or anything. And she was trying to, avoid that. I think some of the issue is a lot of accusations from a total stranger calling in, and it's on a platform, a public platform at that. With, as we see now, I'm looking at what I'm looking at, and it's over 250,000 views on that video. So you got to imagine how many eyes have now seen this. Okay, so that was the first video. As I said, looks like, there might be a way around this one. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's look at the follow-up recap video.
St. Louis?
Yeah, this is, what do you want to call me? You want to call me Shirley or Auntie?
We gonna call you. Oh, you telling me your name? Okay.
This is, what do you want to call me? Somebody say I should be, you would just call me Shirley, and the other lady said you ought to call me Auntie, so which one do you prefer?
I'm gonna call you Auntie. We're gonna call you Auntie.
Well, okay.
Let me just tell you that your information has been spot on, but I know I don't have to tell you that.
I told you it was the truth when I called.
Yes, ma'am, you did. You told us it was the truth, and yes, it was and is.
So this is the part that I was referring to in my previous video where I said in the second video, because my playlist just went right into this video, which I probably would not have even watched had it just not started automatically. And as you see within the first 30 seconds or so of the video, they're recapping what was said in the previous video. And Phylly Phyl herself told the lady that the information that she gave was spot on. And then the response from Auntie, who is an anonymous person, which is a little scary in a situation like this, her response was, I told you it was the truth. So this is the part where I said this could potentially be an issue in this particular defamation claim, because everyone who watches Phylly Phyl or run into the 250,000 people, for example, over 250,000 people who have now seen that first video with those accusations. When you look at this follow, now this is all they know is what was on that first video. And if they're starting to take it as fact and truth, they walk away with that, and then that gets to spreading. So this particular video was the one that I was referring to when I said that it can be, and I understood what Phylly Phyl was saying when she said everything you said was spot on. I believe she was speaking on the things that were provable, the articles in the newspaper about, past incidents with Tim Norman Sr. and various things like that. I did not take it as she was saying her accusations about Andre being a sacrificial lamb and Miss Robbie having something to do with it and all of that being truth and her being promiscuous and all that. That wasn't the part that I felt she was saying was spot on. However, a person who is blindly watching this content and doesn't know the history, because I saw quite a few comments like, you need to watch all of her videos to people are not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. And so they're going to take sound bites like y'all did for some of the stuff I said and then run with it. And so this was my point in saying this here could potentially, and again, I'm no legal professional. I'm not an attorney or anything like that. This is all my commentary and my opinions. But this particular piece, if added to or if considered, could potentially be as if Phylly Phyl was co-signing what was stated, the allegations and the defamation. So that was the only point that I was making in the previous video. Hope that that's not the case. Hopefully her track record of everything else she's said and all of that and the times that she did try to stop people from dragging Miss Robbie, hopefully, you know, those things will really play into this as well. But some of the damage is already done. And I can even see from my comment section, there's a lot of people who are against Miss Robbie, which is a complete turn from the way that it was when this first came out, when everybody was like, pray for Miss Robbie, pray for Michelle Griggs, justice for Andre. And now it's like, Miss Robbie's the devil. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. And here's an example of that. One person comments and says, she is suing the wrong person. The callers that spilled the tea from St. Louis should be the co-dependents, and I think they meant defendants. This is totally different from Tasha K. Callers call in all to the LRL show, and I think this is Larry Reed show. It's no different than callers calling into a radio show. That's not 100% true. As a platform, we control who calls in and how much of what they say gets out. And so, yes, if you open up your platform to callers, you can potentially be held accountable for the things that callers say, because it's almost like inciting a crowd. And so if you notice, when people call in radio shows and things of that nature, they don't let them go too far. And if they start to go too far, they cut them off. Now, we all have seen that. Also, I do agree with them saying that the person who called in should be the co-defendant. And I'm not sure who the Cody person is. I'm not sure if that was the person who was co-hosting the live with Phylly Phyl or if that is the caller's name. So the caller claimed that Miss Robbie knew who she was. So if she did, even though that was a young name, I think it was Shanice or something like that. So, but anyway, the next comment is, what are the damages Miss Robbie suffered that resulted from these lies? She needs to prove that to be successful with this lawsuit. Miss Robbie should have had all this energy for her son. Tim's actions could have single-handedly destroyed her business that she's worked so hard for. And this is true. In the defamation lawsuit, Miss Robbie will have to be able to prove a loss of damages to some extent. And in this, I mean, she could do it from all levels. You know, she's doing concerts. She can talk about concert sales being lower. She can also, if her restaurant business has seen less activity since this. And again, I'm no legal professional or anything like that, but I would just assume that even a lot of these comments that are negative towards her could potentially be seen as tarnishing her reputation. But I'm not sure about that. But if people are saying in comments, well, I'm no longer going to her restaurant because of this, or I had tickets, or I was about to buy tickets to her concert and I decided not to, they can start to show those sort of comments across platforms and potentially show, hey, this would have been a customer. This would have been a concert goer, or, you know, etc. Someone who would have bought her music. But I don't know. That's just my assumption. You guys let me know what you think about that. And then the other piece of this, I did see a couple other comments, and I may run them to them again, but where they talked about how she should be more concerned with Tim damaging her reputation and what he's done and the losses she may have experienced from that, and how could she blame this on that. Well, I think the distinction would be the stuff with Tim is about 2 years old. So any losses, and I'm not saying she didn't lose any following or anything from that or customers. And I did hear that some people were not supporting based on her, helping to fund his case or whatever, allegedly, because who knows. But what we can say is that has already occurred for the most part. If people had stopped following or supporting her, that's happened over these past 2 years. In my mind, anything that has occurred in losses since the publishing of that video could then be attributed to the damage that video would have done in the mindset of the plaintiff, Miss Robbie. But let's see what else we have here. So this comment says she has a whole son up for murder of her grandson and she worried about YouTubers. And I don't know. I'm torn with those sort of comments because in my mind, she still has a career. She still has a life outside of what's happening. And once Tim is under the jail, then she still has to be able to carry on. And if these things start to affect her reputation and therefore her income and all of those other things, these are things for her to also be concerned with. So it's no absolutes in a situation like this. We've all, most of us, I'll say, have experienced some level of tragedy or loss in our lives and things like that. Not necessarily on this level, but you know what I'm saying. We deal with things that hit us very hard in life. And when those things happen or have happened, we don't only focus on that one thing. We have to also focus on the other parts of our lives and the other people in our lives and working and providing for ourselves and our family and all of that. So to make it an absolute, like, because your son is on trial for, murder for hire, then that should be your only thing you're ever thinking about, and don't think about your career and I don't subscribe to that form of thinking at all. So anyway, the next comment says, she's doing everything else other than accepting accountability for what her son did. Shaking my hand, that wicked family. And these sort of comments, I think, are basically the foundation of why this defamation suit is here, because you start to get these, it's a negative narrative that has started to be applied to the family as a whole because of this and because of what was said by an anonymous person who called in. And I know that there are, many or some of you who would have a problem with this. For me personally, I have reserved any judgment for Miss Robbie and how she's handling this situation, because the way that I personally look at it is that, for one, Miss Robbie did not have anything to do with this. I don't believe she orchestrated it. I don't believe she knew it was going to happen or anything on that level. And so therefore she, as the other family members as well, and, Michelle Griggs, has been a victim to a degree as well from Tim's actions. And so I feel like putting that blame on her because of the actions of her demonic son, I just don't feel is fair. In addition, her not speaking out against him in this time, or really saying much in this time, I think is validated because of the fact that this is an open case. And anything that she says can be used in the court of law for or against this situation. And so she's been a public figure for, 50, 60 years or whatever. And so she's smart enough to know that I can't emote in the public the way that we do in private. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. And some people are looking at it like, she wants Tim to get off, and maybe that's why allegedly she's funding the attorneys. I don't even know if anyone has ever been able to prove that. But it could also be that she's trying to just only prevent him from the death penalty. I don't know. But it's speculation on my part as well. But that is, for me personally, why I don't subscribe to dragging this woman who's experienced, such major loss all throughout her life. When you look at and hear even the stories that have been told, losing the men in her life in tragic ways over all of these decades. And so I look at this as another gut punch, another trauma, and I just don't want to add more to that by doing what's happening in social media to her and her name. Because obviously from this, we know she can see this stuff. Like, obviously, we know that. So let's see what the next person has to say. They say, boy, a hit dog will holler. Won't they? I guess Auntie was on point about Miss Robbie. Laughing emojis. Well, Miss Robbie has to prove it's a lie now. Shrugging. So this person's theory is that the only reason that Miss Robbie's speaking out is because it was truth. And I kind of would disagree. I would think if it was truth, she would leave it alone because, like they said, she would have to prove that it's not the truth. So, yeah, if someone was dragging my name and affecting my public image and therefore potentially my income, I'm not going to sit back and allow that to happen either. And so I don't know if I 100% agree with the only reason she's suing is because it's true. I think she's suing because she feels it's not true. So what I saw in the comments was it seemed to be sectioned off by, you know, criticisms of Miss Robbie in general, but also why she's filed this defamation suit against Phylly Phyl. And then you also had comments that were defending Phylly Phyl, saying that she did absolutely nothing wrong. And so let's look. We have this person says, I think Phylly Phyl has a problem with Miss Robbie not mentioning Andre's name at all in her interviews. The fact that she's standing by her son and not acknowledging Andre at all. And I would pretty much agree with this based on what I've seen over the past couple years from regarding this from Phylly Phyl, is that has been one of her stances with Miss Robbie, is the fact that she's not mentioning Andre. But again, my stance is there could be a legal reason, this impending court case, of why she's just kind of stayed clear of that. Whether you think it's right or wrong, I can understand from that perspective of why she has maybe not said nothing. And I did watch one of Phylly Phyl's videos where I think it was a lady who's really good friends with Miss Robbie who said that Miss Robbie actually does talk about Andre in private. And so I don't feel she owes us as the public to say anything about that ever, but especially in this moment. But the person is right that Phylly Phyl has definitely stated that on multiple occasions that, you know, she takes issue with that. So this next person says it's not her fault that the callers call in. PP have never dragged Miss Robbie. People need to watch her past videos where she speaks up for Miss Robbie. This is nothing close to Tasha K case. So when this person says not her fault that callers call in. Not necessarily her fault, but it's her platform. And so she gets to control when and if people can call in. And I've seen her do that. And I've seen her say, we're going to wait till the end of the show. I've seen her say, we're not going to do it at all today. I need to get, information out. So she controls that part of it. It's basically all I got to say about that. And so who calls in, how long the calls are, when they get cut off, all of that. We as content creators, when we open up our platforms in that way, have full control over that. Now, can people slip in things and they get out there if we're doing a live stream? Absolutely. But we can also click them off real quick. And so when people say it's not a content creators in their control, what callers do, whether you feel it's in our control or not, we are held accountable for it. So just like if I do a live stream, I can't have people using vulgar language throughout, because what will happen is YouTube will take my video down. They will demonetize it. And so you're not held accountable as a caller. I'm held accountable as a content creator. Why? Because it's my platform. So to say that somebody just has zero control over their platform or shouldn't be held responsible at all is not how this works. It's just not how this works at all. So, and then the other piece, I saw a few comments saying that there's no similarity whatsoever to Tasha K and Cardi B case. When I said that, what I was not saying was that Phylly Phyl has done what Tasha K did throughout however many years that was of her dealing with Cardi B. What I meant was in the sense of a celebrity suing a YouTuber or a content creator for things they said that they felt was defaming. In that way, these cases are exactly the same. They're both defamation cases. So to say they're nothing alike is not true. They are both defamation cases. And that's what I meant in that sense of. And the fact that celebrities are now starting to say, I'm going to come after you, and it's not idle threats anymore. It's like they're literally going for it. So this next comment says, Miss Phylly Phyl isn't responsible for what someone else says on her show. She has a nice show, and I love her cooking shows. And so this person is correct in the sense that they say she has a nice show, and they love her cooking videos. And Phylly Phyl has been able to, through the ups and downs of being a creator, build a community over on her channel, which has been great. But again, to say that someone has zero responsibility for what is said on their channel, on their platform, is just not true. This is just not true at all. YouTube holds us accountable, and so can the court of law. Really, YouTube is based on a lot of laws, a lot of our rules. Okay, so this person says, I don't think she did anything wrong. She didn't know what these callers had to say, and she kept saying allegedly. This makes Tim and his family look worse. Obviously, some truth in it. Truth hurts. And for her to say she ruined her image, I don't agree. She's just talking about what's going on and allowing people to say how they feel. But anyways, I hope she wins. The family needs money right now for Tim's fees. So this doesn't surprise me. So this person's theory is that Miss Robbie is suing because the truth hurts, but also she needs money for Tim's legal fees. And so she's suing Phylly Phyl, I guess, to gain money. The problem with this is that this will probably go further than the time frame of Tim's case. There's no telling how long this is going to take to actually go to trial. Okay, so then we have, those that are for the situation or for Phylly Phyl, but then you have some who felt like the callers may have gotten out of hand. And so this one person in defense says, Robbie is just doing this out of spite because of what the old lady was saying was hitting her hard. And she knows that truth was all in it. And then another person responds and says, and she didn't have a lick of proof to back it up. And then another person responds and says, I disagree. I've been following this drama and fiasco for a while. I felt this lady was going too far with the gossip and slander. It was malicious with no substance. A whole bunch of messiness. These YouTubers need to be more mindful of the garbage they put out there. Some of it had nothing to do with Tim's case. Y'all don't know how hurtful and damaging slander and defamation can be to someone who's trying to heal and move on. Miss Robbie is in her 80s. Leave that woman alone, respectfully. And then the next person says, she does go very, very deep in that woman's life, allowing people to really belittle and demean Miss Robbie. Okay, so this person says, I kind of had to stop watching her content because she had anyone who had something to say on her commentary. I wonder if she ever verified who those people actually were. It seemed to become more gossip than content, which is based on facts. And because of that, it felt like her contact lacked empathy because it all seemed to be so reckless. And then this last comment says, unpopular opinion. I actually felt this particular YouTuber was doing absolutely too much and just going too far with the content. Going to her restaurant and straight up eating her food and going live was disrespectful. Then she actually met the lady and posted up in her restaurant with a photo. Keep the hood gossip, slander, and blank out of the content and keep it respectful at all times. It's that simple. So this particular person, and this is what happens, and I think this is an example of what has happened to Ms. Robbie to a degree, where some of your innocent moves are now being tainted to be something that was malicious and evil. And so this person is mentioning, and I remember this last year, I think it was, where Phylly Phyl went to Sweetie Pie's, I think in Mississippi, and she did a live there and she tried the food and all of those things. And she went there without malicious intent. She went there because she has been a fan of the show and all of Miss Robbie, the family and all of that, as a lot of us have who have followed the story since day one. And that's how we even got on the story. But she went as a supporter. And now, because of where we are today, this person wants to go back in time and take Phylly Phyl's innocent actions of just wanting to travel to Mississippi, check out the Sweetie Pie's restaurant, support, enjoy the environment, and hopefully get to meet Miss Robbie as a fan. And they have now taken this as it was with malicious intent way back then, and that the whole plan was to take Miss Robbie down in some way. And again, this is what starts to happen. People will take your good because of a situation and then try to make everything you've ever done be something of ill repute. And I'm going to defend Phylly Phyl in this particular situation and say that was not what she was on with going to visit Sweetie Pie's. You know, she was given content, but she was also going to do something that she felt would be enjoyable and fun for herself. So with that, that's all I have for this video, for this particular part. I kind of wanted to address some of where I'm really coming from with this as far as the things that I stated in the initial video, because there was, you know, people again taking sound bites and comprehension and doing what they wanted with it. And then there was also people who have never seen those clips and had no point of reference of what we were really talking about. And I started to realize that in the comment section. As I said before, I will be following this story because it is very much so of interest, because it hits so close to home. Also, you know, a fellow YouTuber who I'm very familiar with. So, and this is again setting a precedence in a way. And so I'm very interested in seeing how this turns out. And with that, if you've made it to this point in the video, first of all, thank you. Please remember to hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. And don't forget that we have a VIP community where you can get updates of when I upload new videos, a little bit behind the scenes, and communicate with me one-on-one so that I don't miss your comment. So with that, until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.
Ayy, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rain do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest.